Now hold on one second. I know what you're thinking. Oh my God, I'm in the wrong place. This is a fitness channel. It's not a fitness channel. You're in the right place. We do camera reviews here. We do tutorials. And today we're answering a viewer question all about vlogging. What's a good camera for YouTube videos? Should you be using a camcorder or a mirrorless camera or a DSLR? Well, I think I got the answer for you in this video. So please stay right there. You're going to want to see this. So in the midst of all this craziness in the world, I'm just out here trying to get my workout on, stay in shape, because, you just gotta make sure you take care of yourself during these times, fitness, eating right and all that other good stuff, taking care of your family, even though we're social distancing, still staying social with your friends, which is not really easy for me because I'm not that social to begin with, but I'm trying. Whew. Anyway. So in this video, we're going to be answering a viewer question. I'm going to read it right now. So this question comes from Jonathan Blythe. And thank you for this question. He said, I've been watching your camera reviews for a while now, and I find them very informative. I am currently looking for a new camera for the purposes of YouTubing. It's for 2 channels, one for reviewing and one for vlogging. Naturally, people have been telling me to avoid camcorders like the plague and use DSLRs, but I've tried 2 DSLRs, the A7III and the GH5, and they weren't suitable. The 2 camcorders I've been looking at mostly are the Canon Xc50 and the JVC LS300. I'm not really sure if I should go for fixed or changeable lenses. As you have experience with both of these cameras, I was hoping you could make any suggestions based on what I'll be using it for. The only thing putting me off of the Canon really is the battery life. Apparently it's not so good, but can the camera run on mains? And by mains he means, a wall outlet. If so, that shouldn't be a problem. JVC seems good, but it's an older camera and the build quality puts me off slightly. Any advice you can give will be appreciated. All right, so there we go. And I followed up that question because I wanted a little clarification on a few things. One being mains being wall power, which it is, and I assume that, but I just, I don't like to assume. And also I just want to find out what was putting him off about the mirrorless / DSLR cameras. Since you tried them, like, why do you not like those? And he said one thing was the record limit. He doesn't like that, which I can totally understand. But we're going to address that in a minute. And also the autofocus with the GH5 was a problem as well, which I can definitely understand. So we'll also talk about that. So Jonathan, thank you so much for that question. I mean, it's a really good question. I love answering stuff like this on the channel because a lot of people find this helpful. And you're going to have to excuse me because that small little workout I did has tired me out and I didn't bring any water. So there's going to be a lot of going on right now. So bear with me because I can't. So anyway, let's address the Xf400 first, because yes, I had that camera for, I don't remember how long it was, maybe like a year, maybe slightly less than a year. And I used it for multiple things. I used it for YouTube videos. I used it for weddings. I even used it for some small commercial work that I did as well. And I have to say that that camera, if you felt that the GH5 had problems with autofocus, you may not love the Xf400 that much. It's definitely better than the GH5. But even though it's dual pixel autofocus, it's not like the dual pixel that comes in like, the mirrorless cameras, like the M series cameras and, the R series cameras that are out now. It's not as good as that, but it's still good. And for the most part, when I was shooting these type of videos with the Xf400, I don't remember a lot of times that it took me out of focus. I only felt the focusing didn't work when I was actually behind the camera and I was shooting my weddings. Sometimes it would just randomly go out of focus, like trying to focus on the bride or something, and it would just lose focus for no damn reason. It didn't do it too much when I was shooting these though by myself. So in terms of focus, you're probably not going to have too many issues, but there's a potential. And down below in the description, there are affiliate links for everything discussed in this video. And please, if you haven't already done so, go ahead and subscribe and go ahead and click the bell to make sure that you get notifications. Also, like you mentioned, definitely the battery life is terrible. Right now I'm shooting this with the Sony A6400. My M50 was, the battery was dead, but this is just as good. And this will run for about 2 hours on a full battery. The stock battery that comes with the XF400 runs for maybe like an hour and a half, which makes no sense to me. For a camcorder that costs, you know, $2,500 or thereabouts, you would think the battery life would be a little bit better. Also, think about this. If you're using something like an XF400 and you're vlogging, you know, if you're doing this and you have it on a tripod, no problem. But if you're walking around, that thing is not light. It's not a small camera at all. So if you're trying to do one of these things, oh, I'm gonna walk, hey, look at me, I'm in the street. It's not really gonna work very well for you. You're gonna find it very uncomfortable. If you throw it on a gimbal, even worse. However, the image stabilization in it is very, very good. So you probably don't need a gimbal or anything. You probably could just get away walking around with it because it's gonna stabilize you pretty good, but it's, how long can you hold it out without your arm just like falling out your socket? So not the best thing for that in my opinion. So that's the XF400. Now you also talked about the JVC LS300, which I have a lot of experience with. Many years I've had that camera now. Great for doing my wedding work, commercial work, all types of stuff, short film, documentary. It pretty much can do everything. If you're trying to do reviews and stuff, fine. It's gonna work well for that. Even the Canon, definitely you're doing reviews and stuff and you're behind the camera, it's gonna work well for that. Where I'm gonna say you're gonna struggle again is if you're doing vlogging and you're carrying the thing with you. Again, it's a heavy camera, even gonna be heavier than the XF400 in many cases, because depending on what lens you put on it, it's gonna add weight to it. And it becomes pretty awkward for that type of thing. Also, the autofocus in it is absolutely terrible. It's almost non-existent. It only works with a few lenses, and they're pretty much only Panasonic lenses. If you try any other lens and an adapter, like a Canon EFS lens or something, and put an adapter in between it, it's pretty much not gonna work for focusing. So flipping the screen toward you, doing something like this, you can do it, but you better use a lens that is wide and just focus it, you know, manually, because it's just not gonna work. Honestly, I would not recommend that for doing vlogging videos. Review videos, fine. But here we go. So let's talk about some alternatives. What my preference is for doing the YouTube videos. Right now, this A6400, I don't use it for a ton of these YouTube videos. I typically bring it as my second camera on weddings, but it can definitely do these YouTube videos with no problem. I'm doing it right now. It focuses on my face. It's not gonna lose me. It just doesn't, like it. The focusing on this is absolutely, bam. It's just amazing. It works really well, and I hope it actually stayed in focus while I was doing all that, because if it didn't, I look like a jackass. But it typically works extremely well. The image quality is extremely good. So it's a really nice option. It doesn't have image stabilization built in, like in the Canon Xf400, but it's still very good. Obviously, if you watch my channel, you know that I like the M50 for doing YouTube videos because it's extremely inexpensive, way cheaper than this A6400. Still gives you a really nice image quality. Has image stabilization built in, but it's not the greatest, but it is pretty good. You know, for certain things, not for vlogging and walking around, forget it. I did a video on that. Not gonna work very well. You can check that out if you want, if you haven't seen it. But it's so light that you could get a small gimbal and just hold it on a gimbal. It's not really a heavy camera, and especially if you use the kit lens, the 15 or 45, which if you're doing vlogs, especially outdoors, will work very well. It's fine, and it's a very inexpensive option, even though it seems to me like your budget is pretty decent if you're looking at those two cameras anyway. You might like the audio that you get out of the XF400 and the JVC LS300 because you have that XLR handle, and that's true. That is a very nice feature. But keep in mind, The Sony A6400, the M50 both have audio inputs on them, so you could just plug into there. And here's the thing. So the M50 is probably not going to work for you, right? Because one of the things you said is the record limits got you covered. The A6400, keep recording until your card runs out or your battery runs out. There is no record limits on this particular camera. So there's another reason why the A6400 would be a very, very good option, because there's no record limits. You might even want to check out the A6100, which is a little cheaper. I think it's like $150 cheaper new. I can't remember if that one has a record limit, but I don't think it does. But you gotta check on that, or if someone knows, just put that down in the comments. But you might be able to save a little bit of money. The thing that one is missing is like the picture profiles, like the S-Log and the HLG picture profiles. But if you don't care about that stuff, then it doesn't really matter. There might be a few other smaller differences, but for the main part, the two cameras are pretty much identical. So look into that. I told you that was gonna happen. I need some damn water. Anyway, so there you go. So there are two options, but like I said, I guess the M50 is not really an option because of your record limit thing, but here's one option, the A6400. If you're still more into camcorders, which I can totally understand, I like camcorders as well, then you might want to look at the Canon Xc50. Very similar to the Xa400, the difference being it doesn't come with 4K 60 in it, and it doesn't do live streaming from the camera. There may be some other small things that are missing, but those are the two major ones. So if you don't care for that, then the Xa50 still has the 1-inch sensor, so you're still gonna get a really nice picture. And the picture in the Xa400 was incredible. Also, there's the Xa40, which is even cheaper than the Xa50, which is even cheaper than the Xa400, but that one has a 1/2-inch sensor as opposed to the 1-inch. I find the 1-inch sensors are a little bit better. You get a little bit more shallow depth of field when you need it. So that's just my personal preference, but you might want to look into those if you're still into doing the camcorders. Also, the Sony Ax700 might not be a bad option as well. But again, I feel the Canon will have better image quality. And also, let me just kind of touch on the fixed lens question that you had. You know, which is better, fixed lenses or interchangeable lenses? And again, it's kind of hard to say because it really just depends on you. I personally prefer interchangeable lenses because it gives me more creative freedom with my shots. Where I do like a fixed lens is for event shooting, because you just don't have the time to swap lenses. I prefer using fixed lens cameras for shooting weddings. However, I mainly shoot with mirrorless cameras because I need that larger sensor. And like I said, I need to be able to swap my lenses for more creative freedom. So anyway, there you have it. There's my opinion. Y'all stay safe out there, especially you, Jonathan. Good luck on your camera. Let me know what you get. I'm very curious. Let me know your thoughts on it once you get it. Because if it doesn't work for you, I'd like to know, because I'll take that information. I'll keep it in mind when someone else asks the question. You know, all of us use things in a different type of way. So yeah, please let me know. And everybody out there, you know, do some push-ups or something. Brush your teeth, I don't know. Stay healthy. And as always, I'm Mike Turner. Thanks for watching. And I guess I'll see you soon. I got mixed feelings about the Xf400 because there were so many little nitpicky things that annoyed me about that camera. I did a whole video on it if you want to check it out. 6 things I like and 11 things I don't, I think is what it's called. So, like, there are 11 things, there's small things, but they all added up for me to not work. Oh. So, there's somebody picking up garbage behind me. This truck is mad loud, but we'll just wait it out. Let me show you. Yeah. That's what happens when you shoot out in public. You're gonna get noises, distractions, interruptions. You know, they gotta work, they gotta do their thing, so I'm not mad at it. Just gonna wait. Sure, the audio sounds fine, but I don't know. So we'll just wait. And how much garbage is in there? Alright. Alright, so let's zoom back in. Alright, so he didn't go very far, he's right in front of me. Alright. And he's off. There we go. Okay.